and welcome to the Food and Beverage Leaders Podcast. I'm Andy Barr, owner of Barr Transportation. We're so glad you joined us today. Now, our mission here is very simple at Barr Transportation. It's to provide you with the most reliable and honest national transportation for your goods, paired with proactive communication throughout the entire life of the load. Now, this podcast is designed exactly for you. It's for sales managers, produce managers, logistics managers, traffic managers, the entire C-suite, anyone else who really wants to perform at the top of their game in this global food and beverage industry. So whether you're big or small, West Coast or East Coast, this podcast is meant for you. Now make sure to stick around at the end of each show and we'll reveal how you can apply to be on the show yourself so you can grow your authority, build partnerships, and help your business boom. Interviews are about 15 to 20 minutes long, and I'll leave you with my favorite quote: preparation plus opportunity equals success. That's it. I'll see you on the inside. Enjoy this episode.
All right. Welcome, everyone, for another episode of the Barr Transportation Zoom series, usually a monthly call that we have. And this time we have around Dr. Yeager with us with Yeager Leadership Group. Dr. Yeager, welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks, Andy, for having me.
Absolutely. I've known Dr. Yeager from my high school days, so this is great to reconnect. And, right now we're going to go into leadership today. This is a very big leadership call, specifically to you guys, our audience. Logistics managers, shipping managers, produce brokers. You guys are and salespeople, you're facing challenges from your customers and also the other end, the suppliers, all day long, every day. So this call will dive into how to navigate those waters. With 2020 being such a uncertain is probably the best word, and unexpected and unpredictable year, with the virus, with the social issues, with the hurricane, with the California fires, and with the election on top of that. So, you've just got a lot going on right now. So, Dr. Yeager, is there any sort of style of leadership for logistics managers as they lead their departments that's recommended during these times?
Well, of course, being flexible, and that's the buzzword out there. But it's challenging for logistics managers because basically needing to have a sense of control and order, which is difficult in these times. The root word of logistics, logic, is really important. So that's important to be logical, have facts, have a space to process everything, and at the same time trying to keep emotions out of the process. So now is a time of what's called a trust market. Trust markets are a hot currency now, with sales and delivery, sales and production, all the different aspects that logistics managers work on. It's important to establish those trust bases with the people that they're working with. Jen Grace Barron, the co-founder and chief inspiration officer at InspireCore, talks about the notion of what's called a heat experience. And what a heat experience is: 4 specific types of events that are happening in culture. One can be a war. Secondly, a pandemic. Third, a social justice movement. And fourth, a downturn in the economy. Well, we've got the final 3. We've got the trifecta going on there. And that makes it even more challenging during this period of time because people tend to be on edge. And so it's important for logistics managers to kind of allow for themselves to, try to establish as much of a sense of control and order as possible during this time. Jen actually says when people are challenged, stressed into discomfort, uncertainty, and even failure, they learn and develop in accelerated ways. And that's certainly happening today. To quote Winston Churchill, never get fooled by a good crisis happening.
Definitely. Or to quote any high schooler, cram for the test.
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Okay. So here's that hero slide. Yeah.
Yeah, the hero. Well, logistics managers' heroes. Basically, when we're looking at logistics managers, we tend to look at a concept of psychological capital. Now, logistics managers have a notion of financial capital, which is very important, human capital, which is knowing the knowledge and skills of people that they're in charge of, that they serve. Third, they have a notion of social capital in making sure that relationships work well. The fourth area, which has been coined by Fred Luthens and his colleagues, is called psychological capital. And that focuses on the four-letter acronym HERO. And if you look at the slide, that logistics managers ought to have hope, and they have to have clear goals, believe in themselves, have multiple pathways to get there. In any case, pathways get blocked. And that's happening a lot there, literally and figuratively, to be able to have the agency and the capacity to try to find a different pathway there. Secondly, they're efficacious, or they have confidence. So confident logistics managers believe that they're capable of effective action.
Sorry about that. That is my dog, Charlie. So not to, my dog, Charlie, wants to be part of the call. So
Charlie's a confident dog.
Yeah.
So you can see resilience, where logistics managers adapt to adversities and subsequently grow from the way that they meet the challenges. And fourth, logistics managers today ought to be optimistic and hold a realistic and flexible outlook that supports taking positive action. So when all four of these areas are worked together, it gives the greatest chance for the logistics manager to flourish in these uncertain times.
That all makes sense. Yes, and thank you. That's very clear. So it's a nice flow chart. So with logistics managers as an audience, primarily again in the food and beverage space, and the demands they face on a daily basis are quite large and ever evolving. They're constantly balancing sales orders with just-in-time production, suppliers, last-minute customer requests, higher-ups changing the shipping origin, and much more. Is there anything that you can touch on that would, really relate well to them on how to handle all of these moving parts?
I think the biggest word that you said there was the notion of balance and being able to keep balance. And one way of keeping balance is for logistics managers to be able to leverage healthy tensions that are going on in the business today. A healthy tension, or a polarity, is basically a two or pair of strategic objectives or values that seem to be really opposite one another, but they are actually interdependent. They need to live with each other, like night and day, light and dark. Even the notion of breathing, with the inhale, the exhale, they need to live there.
Sure.
On the slide right here are basically several different really important polarities that logistics managers can try to balance. If we look at this first one, which is sales and delivery, or sales and production, you could talk about both here, is that they need to live with each other. If you over-focus on sales to the neglect of delivery, okay, there's going to be a problem there. If you over-focus on trying to deliver things, but you don't have the sales, that's going to be a problem too. There was a organization I was working with that was working with sales and production, and basically these salespeople were saying, "Hey, we can sell the product for this amount," and production said, "But we can't produce it for that amount." Okay, they're both kind of right in their own way, but they need to be able to balance. So what a polarity does is that, so for example, for logistics managers, for example, with sales, if you're the upside of sales is that you've got top line growth, customer expansion, value creation, market awareness, and stability.
Yeah, sales, you would think that they got the upper hand, right? They're bringing in the business, but no, it takes both sides.
Yeah. Takes both sides. With delivery and production, you need to, in order to get satisfaction by the customers, you need to deliver a high quality product, okay? And to build and repeat and deliver repeatable solutions to have happy customers out there. So they need to work in and of each other there too. If you look down to the second one, you got to get the job done, you got to deliver, but you also need to build relationships, okay? Because if there's a nanosecond of doubt with relationships, okay, then the job may not get done.
Right.
Of course, accountability and support. Mission and margin is very interesting. When I think of restaurant owners that I've spoken with, they have the mission of, providing the best food and beverage possible to their clientele. And they want to be able to do this. But within COVID, they also have to be concerned about their margin. Okay. And their margin is they've got to break even. They've got to make some money. Logistics managers can be fearlessness and they can have that, but they also must be compassionate. And the same thing too happens with logistics managers doing the same thing as they typically have, but also embracing change during these uncertain times and being flexible with that.
That's spot on. We get stuck in a routine, right? Everybody likes routine patterns, their own schedules, typically don't like change. But during these uncertain times, you need to be able to change. So that's
exactly.
Really good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So next up is, if you could just take a minute and describe Yeager Leadership and what you do and anything else you'd like to touch on.
Well, Andy, a lot of what we do is exactly in the area I was just talking about helping to build not just individual psychological capital, but building it collectively, collective capital among organizations. We operate as partners with businesses, hospitals, schools, and actually athletic programs too, to build high-performing individuals, teams, and organizations. And we help them through this complex dance of leading self, leading others, and leading the entire team or the organization.
Very good, very good. And how long has it been, going on, Yeager Leadership?
Probably for the last 12 years or so. Yeah, it's been really exciting working with a whole different cohorts of different organizations. But the bottom line is we're talking about people. And as long as we're talking about people, then there's some things that don't change, that they stay the same. And that's where we kind of focus our work in that area.
Outstanding. Okay. And let's say one of our members of the audience are interested to learn more and maybe just pick your brain a little. How does one connect with you? What's the best way?
Well, I can be reached at john@yeagerleadership.com. And Yeager Leadership is one word. My name is spelled Yeager. Yeagerleadership.com is my website. And you can reach me, John Yeager, on Facebook or LinkedIn also. And somehow, if you connect with me somehow in that way, I'll get back to you on that.
Outstanding. Well, Dr. Yeager, thank you for joining us today. Stay safe. Watch out for hurricanes and fires and the virus all at once.
Thanks, Andy. It's good to see you again.
Always. Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Thank you for listening to the Food and Beverage Leaders Podcast. I'm Andy Barr with Barr Transportation. Now, if you are a successful leader in the food and beverage space, believe in your company, and want to share your story, really look no further. All you have to do is go to bartrans.com/podcast/apply to apply to be on the show. Lastly, if you enjoyed listening to our show, please consider sharing the link or a screenshot on your social media account. We want to help as many people as possible who truly believe education and discussion is where it all starts. Of course, if you know someone that would be a great guest, connect with us, and we'll explore to see if it's a good fit. Again, thank you for listening to the Food and Beverage Leaders Podcast. And as always, we'll leave you with our favorite quote: preparation plus opportunity equals success. Now go crush life, and we'll see you again soon.